It's not like boom and the fireball hits and everything's over and we're all scattering. That's what our survival brain wants to make it out to be. But it's actually just because we are becoming more ourselves, the things that are a reflection of where we've been vacant from ourselves don't have any place to exist anymore. They don't have any fuel. The disjointedness, the systems falling apart, all these systems became so big simply because we were so disconnected from ourselves. They are the reflection of that shadow of where we were not very responsible with our alignment because we didn't know better. We didn't have the support. We didn't have the tools, whatever. And as we awaken more, as we really just come to grips with who we actually are and can no longer tolerate what we're not, those things are going to dwindle. And that's really what this big shift is talking about.
Hey guys, I'm Aubrey. On this show, we explore the intersection of mysticism, technology, art, and transpersonal experience. I'm an entrepreneur, author, and cosmic advisor, covering human consciousness and the larger forces shaping our collective destiny. Welcome to The Infinite Drop.
Hello. Hi. Great to see you.
So good to see you. I like when you said configuring.
Part AI at this point.
Partially AI. The last episode I recorded, my sound was horrible. I had my gain turned all the way up on my mic. So I am looking now to make sure that we sound good.
I don't even know what gain even means.
Gain is a dial on your microphone. I don't know what it means. I just know that for some reason I turned it all the way up and it's supposed to be at 30% and it was at like 90. Anyway, hi.
Hi.
Let's just have a chill conversation.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you guys loved when I had him on last time. So he's back today. So we can deep dive on all the major changes that all of us are feeling. If you can't, this episode's definitely for you. And we're going through a total, complete rebirth on Earth. So Dylan, aka Human Design Maven, you know him all over the webs. He's amazing. He's back. He's here. Dylan, welcome back to the Infinite Drop.
Thanks, Aubrey. Happy to be back.
We've been like percolating on this reunion for a little while and like pinging in and feeling. I think we had another time set to talk, and we were both like, "Are you feeling it?" No. Now we backed out, and then we've just been like checking back in, and now's the time. So
the beauty of two generators working in alignment with their inner authority.
Yeah, I'm a manifest. Are you a manifesting generator too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, Manny Jenny. I get like really happy about that part that I have the Manny in front of it. So when we were texting last week, you said something about Aries innocence, and it just opened up this whole new realm of feeling inside of me about what Aries season can be, like the opportunities available to us, I guess. Because even though I know it's the beginning of the Zodiac, it's like the baby, it's brand new, it's the spark, it's the beginning. You texting that just changed my whole feeling about my own birth chart.
Ooh.
Yeah. I have Venus and Moon in Aries, and I lean so hard into the fire and the energy and passion, and I've never stopped to fully, and I know I'm immature at times, like that does not go past, like emotionally a little bit immature, but I've never considered the innocence that's simultaneously like present in that phase of evolution. I thought you could just...
Yeah, let's start there. So the first gate that we have in the Aries constellation in human design, which is synonymous with a hexagram of the I Ching. So for those of you still coming into the human design world, we have our 12 sign zodiacal wheel. And in human design, we split those 12 signs into 64 hexagrams or 64 gates. And so when we talk about Aries and the 0 point of Aries, which has been a huge focus since February, we're looking at this gate called Innocence, gate 25. And so we see that the entire zodiac wheel starts from a place of innocence. And that can have its like kind of literary connotation of, you know, bunnies and flowers and things like that, like spring, the spring awakening, but also this sense of motiveless action from the more, you know, oracular divinatory language of the I Ching. It's this space from which there are, you know, we act from a place of no conditioning. So much of what we take on as we come into this world is conditioning, a tangent of a tangent of a tangent, somebody else's belief system, what we had to do to, you know, get our needs met as children, all adaptations essentially. And innocence in gate 25 is this place where before all that happened, there is a core response to life that each of us has innately. And I think that, you know, in the past, Aries being connected with Mars and the warrior archetype, it's made it a very heavy and aggressive like lens that we put on the constellation. But I see it more through this innocent lens. And this is also where we had the Saturn-Neptune conjunction on February 20th. So that also is opening up this new era of innocence, but it's not innocence that is necessarily childish. It's an innocence that comes from a deep embodiment of your uniqueness, of your unique nature, and to follow that unique nature to alignment, to the right situations, to the right responses, to being able to say what you truly feel without thinking about what's coming on the other side. And that's really what I think this new era is about, especially thinking about the sleeping phoenix, this oncoming era that we're moving into, which is all about the individual. But it's not just raw individuality for its own sake. It's actually that we have this native architecture that we can come from that produces really shocking results to us. And that's because on the other side of this channel, 25 is in a channel with gate 51, which is the gate of shock. And that's actually a gate that gives us the willpower to stay in our innocence, regardless of what these external expectations, conditions, pressures might be. And that's exactly the energy we're in right now as we're speaking. We've just moved through a week of gate 51 in the sun, giving us this extra willpower to stick to our guns of what's really true and correct in our core. And now Mars is in Aries and it's lighting up gate 25. So we're right on time.
That understanding of innocence, the way you described it, I could feel it. I was hearing the words, but I was feeling the layers of what it's like to move with what we might describe as like childlike attraction or repulsion towards or away from the things we like or we don't like, and those quick responses. And that feels different. Like once you get to the point of feeling safe enough in your body and safe enough in your perspective, and you've done the work to really understand what's mine and what's theirs, there's something so exciting in that you just shared. For me personally, I'm thinking about the way I move in relationships, the way I relate emotionally. And with Mars arriving into Aries yesterday, we're recording this on April 10th, 2026, I actually felt a huge wave of relaxation, which I did not expect. I was anticipating I'm going to feel more of a burst of energy. I naturally slept in yesterday until 10:30 a.m. That does not happen. Yeah. Then I woke up. I thought, oh, that's weird. Like, I wonder what that was. And then I was moving things off my calendar. I just soaked up a lot of sun. I was chatting with friends, focused on creative projects that felt good to me. So, is that kind of what's to be expected? What are you noticing or expecting with Mars in Aries now for the next bit?
I think that manifestation of it is very innocent in itself. And I love to hear that because it's, again, uncontrived. It's all these external commitments, pressures, etc., kind of being pushed to the side so that the pure life force can express itself as it is in the moment, within its environment, and co-creatively within that environment, to give us a sense of embodiment and belonging. And I think that that's a good sign for someone to feel. And I think that with the arrival of Mars here, it's going to be inflaming any compromises that we're still carrying within our boundaries, within our relationships, within even our own self-talk habits. You know, that moment where we kind of say yes too quickly to something, or are afraid to say no to something. Those things are really going to stick. We're really going to feel that, so that we can look closer and be like, oh, I'm blocking my own innocence. I'm blocking my own life force, or I'm diverting it in a way that's not truly life-giving. And I think that's what this new Aries era wants to set us up for, is to be very connected to our life force, because that's the currency of the future. As the ubiquitous AI kind of intensifies all around us, and it seemingly threatens to take over a lot of what we know ourselves as and through as humans, what do we have left but our own, you could say, God-given, just cosmic pulse of what brings us that feeling of vitality and joy and connection? And to me, I feel that that's where the leading edge of manifestation really lives right now. It's not through this super intense strategy, what's the word? Strategy.
Strategic or strategy?
Strategery, yeah. Um,
Strategery, yeah.
it's not about the hyper convoluted battle plan. It's not about the mental faculty of preparing for what we believe life is going to offer us. It's about doubling down on that trust and that knowingness and that intelligence that lives in our system, but we often override by being such mentally focused beings.
Yeah, earlier today, I was on a book club it's a new book club that I was invited to. And we had read the book, The Big Leap. And if you guys haven't read it, it's so good. It's by Gay Hendricks. And it's one of those books you can read really quickly. It's like the truth is so clear. It's like simple sentences, the truth lands. You would love this book, I think, Dylan, if you haven't read it. And right away, you're learning about where everybody has at least one upper limit problem in their life. And we've heard this concept before. But the way it's talked about and worked through, just like the simple questions you can do to like catch yourself in it, are so fascinating. And what you're referring to, like not blocking what we know.
Yeah.
In my experience reading this book, I uncovered an upper limit problem that I have that I was unaware of. And like I knew that I always got frustrated driving. And I would like hear my mind would just go so negative when I'm driving. I'm like mad at people. And in this book, I realized it's my brain and body's chance to protect me from the possibility of being hurt or the possibility of things not working out the way I would like them to work out. And what I realized in one of the first exercises was you imagine like something you want to have happen, like an outcome you're moving towards in your life. And you're just asked to do that and then notice. So fascinating. I would like get to that point in my vision, and then immediately, without me even knowing, it's like I almost black out as these parts are happening. I go from like being in a great position, like just visualizing it. Like there's no harm in visualizing the best outcome, right? You would think. And the next thing I know, I hear myself and I'm negotiating with another person in that situation. And I'm negotiating as if it's gone wrong. So I'm then either discounting and saying, well, no, we could do it this way, or it doesn't have to, or no, but it'll. And in the exercise, I stopped. you can't even enjoy this. You can't even visualize this. And so it took a couple times of going in, but my brain, for whatever reason, with certain outcomes, it just derails. And then I don't even notice it because I'm in playing the part. I'm like, whoa, that is shocking how deep that is. And it was actually fun to sit there to be able to like stay present enough in my visualization to let it play out and then continuing letting it play out and feel good. And in that, just being able to enjoy that visualization that day, I thought, oh my gosh, like I've really been missing out. And now I don't have to. So I love whatever this Mars and Aries is doing. I love. My Mars is natally in Virgo in the first. So, and it's conjunct Jupiter. So this Mars and Aries feels like a breath of fresh air for me. And it's going right over my moon and my Venus. So it feels really good to me, like a relief.
That's eighth house for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I totally see that dynamic of like walking it back or negotiating or preparing for pushback, essentially, because the eighth house, we're just dragooned into connection and transformation and mixing energies. And that I know very well as an eighth house sun native is something that brings up a lot of crisis, friction, difficulty. And we've rehearsed these emotional strategies to prepare ourselves for those slippery slopes and those hard conversations that seem to come with getting what we want. And
Mm-hmm.
then we become, our nervous system becomes entrained in that program of like, okay, how are we going to position to get to point B from point A, but we know, or we assume there's going to be all these blocks. And I think that the Mars and Aries is giving us that added conviction to stay in gear, like to rather than we're merging onto the freeway, instead of being that tentative, oh, I'll slow down and let the other person go and just wait by this. No, like actually I'll go first. I'll go in, I'll just gun it, and I'll let the other people adapt
Mm-hmm.
and trust that that also is an equally viable way forward. And it doesn't have to be something that is destructive, or because the big thing that we're really preparing for is that when we step on other people's toes, we offend other people's expectations or even their kind of weird ownership over us, because it's a very eighth house theme, having this feeling that other people have control over you, and actually just staying the course and seeing how others and life itself reorganizes around that conviction. And that conviction doesn't have to be warrior hardcore. It can be soft. It can be innocent. It can be like, this is just where I'm going. Do you
Mm-hmm.
want to ride along, or do you want to get out of the way? Or
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the eighth house, some of that nuance you had in there about how people kind of expect us to be in relationship. And I like to merge, I like to be in it. But it's interesting that knowing that people take that as, oh, they'll just do whatever. They'll go along with whatever. It's like, no, no, don't be mistaken. So,
it makes me think of too how we're in this background frequency of the cross of planning still. We're literally in the final year of a 412-year cycle in which the pressure that's just like, this was the age of the material revolution. This was the age of having to cooperate to get to what we wanted to manifest. And it's inherently tribal in its nature. And in the tribe, you're given a role, you're given a duty, you're given a job, and you're expected to uphold that no matter what, because it's in the spirit of the greater good of the survival of the group or the all or the collective. And it's something that's really softened our individual will. It's made us expect to have to bow to what everyone else is doing or what the corporation needs, or whatever the group expectation is. And as we're moving into this 2027 era and beyond, it's almost like this Aries season that's so packed with this 7-planet stellium that we're moving into is really initiating us into what it feels like to be comfortable with breaking that covenant that we don't even realize we've been under. And especially, there's 2 gates in this specific cross. Gate 40, which is more seen as the masculine aspect, the breadwinner aspect, the willpower to serve the needs of the tribe. And the 37, which is the more feminine aspect in the solar plexus, is more about keeping that tribe together by keeping everybody copacetic and massaging and affection and conflict resolution. Maybe it's not real conflict resolution, but just kind of like conflict
It's like
fluffing.
navigation.
Yeah. And we're literally being cracked out of that by the movements of the planets right now. And it's so scary for us because this protective layer of this cross of planning has guaranteed our access to survival. And so when we start to break with that pattern, it feels like we're breaking with our guarantee of survival. And yet it's, again, the number one skill that's going to be necessary to really evolve and ascend in the next 400-year cycle is being comfortable with, you could say, upsetting people, with going it alone, with leaping into the void, with breaking away from the associations that we have with country, religious group, cultural groups, whatever, all the groups. That's what I love about this, is that we get to see that that doesn't have to be a source of conflict. It doesn't have to be an us versus them. It gets to be a co-individuation. And that's the big energy that's coming in 2027 with gate 55, is that we're all living life with this emotional spirit of unity. We don't have a hard-coded just law of serve the tribe. We actually get an emotional spirit, this kind of intentional lens for life, that we are all one, and so we should act like it. Our actions, our motives, our intentions should come from a place of the fact that we are not separate. And so why would we act as if we are, selfishly, exploitatively, etc.? And I think that that's what people don't quite see coming yet, is that that is what this great awakening is about. That's what this great bifurcation point is about. It's not really about, something that just takes over and puts everybody in their place, and whoever made this choice or that, they're stuck there. It's about, can you live life in acknowledgement of the fact that we are all unified or not? That's the real fork in the road.
It's a lot different than we thought it would be.
And I love that about it.
Yeah, it's feeling better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
It's just so different. How I feel safe is so different. I can see all the ways that my safety and security and belonging and just like root security issues are coming up, and it doesn't feel as hard as I thought it would. It's feeling easier, and I'm like, oh, this feels like a wave, and it's kind of weird, and I'm on it, and it's working, and I feel like it's gonna keep working, but it doesn't match how that's worked for me in the past. So.
Yeah. It brings to mind your whole experience with the ice storm, and watching you share and move through that in real time was just super potent to see, like, okay, this is how we're going to be handling these kinds of situations as a collective coming forward. It's not necessarily from this place of utter destruction and cataclysm. It's about activating this mycelial network of belonging and understanding and adaptiveness that's kind of been cooking in the background. This mutation that we've been working through and working towards is not necessarily this grand awakening and we all fly into the sky and get into new sight, like whatever, angelic bodies, that would be too easy, and it's not to say that this has to be hard, but we really get to put our skin in the game in really real circumstances and show who we've ascended or evolved to be as humans. And it gets to feel good. It doesn't necessarily feel like easy, but it gets to feel supportive.
For me, it feels nourishing. It doesn't feel assured. It doesn't feel certain. I can't see it. But if I stop trying to see it and figure it out, I'm like, okay, I continue to be nourished in the ways I need to be. I'm just assuming it's going to keep happening. And it's okay. It doesn't look the way it usually looks when you feel confident and being nourished, and it's still happening. So.
Mhm. And it is kind of this collective initiation of facing our upper limits. All of those survival based phantoms of what we fear would happen in the worst case scenario, whether that's just relationally or societally or whatever, economically, there's a lot of things popping off, but we get to face it with this new kind of confirming of our own safety and in forging these new frontiers.
In terms of Firehorse in 2026 in general, what days or weeks are you focused on or expecting to be more pivotal for us?
The next 2 weeks, which is April 9th, yesterday, through the 21st into Taurus season, I feel like that is the true beginning. We had spring equinox, that's a seed beginning. Whereas now we're seeing the lay of the land. We feel the new energy beginning to move through us. We also have this really clear distinction that who we were before is no longer. Because with that Piscean run that we went through for 14 years, that pretty much ended with the Pisces retrograde, which we're out of shadow as of yesterday, we're no longer in this phase of the deep processing. We're no longer in the phase of identifying with our wounds and traumas because they were such a focus for so long, and getting into those deep networks of where the stuck energy was in our lineage or our bodies or whatever system that we're connected to. It's like this is where we really claim and confirm that this is time to be fully present and proactive, not looking back to find something to fix. And I think that because we were in it for so long, it's easy to kind of stay there and not really say back to our own system, okay, things are different now. Like it's time to step forward, not keep trying to fix something, unravel something, surface something, heal something. We're putting the pedal to the metal. We're putting the skin in the game. We're punching through that board like in Kill Bill where she's breaking out of the coffin. That's kind of the perfect image for it. And the whole point of that scene in that movie was her self-trust, her own faith that with nothing in the dark, confined, she could still use her will to break out of very difficult circumstances. And from that is the continuation of the conclusion of her hero's journey. So,
is that a sweeping statement for everyone? Or is there still room for some people to be on a healing journey? Like, what's the delineation there?
well, I think like anything, there's the early adopters, and there's the people that are then coming in the second wave and third wave. So I think that that's definitely still in play. That's just how energy works.
That's kind of what I was feeling. But I didn't know if you had like, no, like everybody has now moved through this portal and now we're all.
If I could have it my way, we would all acknowledge this moment and step up to the plate because we've spent a lot of time in that. And I think the human tendency, we can get lost in that story. Like we almost become the identity of the person that needs healing more than focusing on the endpoint of actualization that comes after that. And it's definitely not as challenging, perhaps, to sit in the old material as it is to start to test drive it and to execute. And with all this Aries energy again in the next 2 weeks, in some way, shape, or form, I feel that everyone needs to be executing just to confirm to themselves that they are capable, so that you don't stay in a position to just have some external narrative or some karmic loop allow itself to be repeated. And with Mars, it's a perfect opportunity to make those cuts. Enough is enough is like a great sentiment.
That's your political slogan. Enough's enough. I love it.
Well, it's written in my design, in my unconscious 34.6 sun, common sense. It's literally
Of
it says
course you have common sense. Of course you do. I love it.
it literally says written in the I Ching reading, the good sense to know when enough is enough. And like when you've bitten off too much and need to spit part of it out. And so I think also,
I have that clinging fire. It's
I
like,
mean, that's a great gate. That's like the sister gate to my gate 55, I would say. And that was where we had our eclipse. And that's what I was thinking last night about this conversation and these like timelines that we're in. We are now experiencing these Aries transits within the dome, in the like radiation of that clinging fire eclipse. And the clinging fire is really about understanding that your fuel for life, your compulsion to create and evolve and to seek something, has to come from a sustainable source. And that eclipse was saying, whatever the old fuel source was for our fire is done. We threw out the old fuel and we're choosing a new sustainable fuel for ourselves. And that's kind of adding even more fire to the fire horse and the fire sign of Aries. I think it's a very decisive time, and I don't think that we need to wait around much longer. You can if you want, but
that doesn't feel right to me to be waiting around. I've felt so much natural like movement in my body, like to go. And I don't know if you know Tej, or she does Mayan dream spell. She was like one of the first guests on the show, and I bring her up because I love how all the systems line up. Yesterday was the beginning of the Mayan mystical column, when past and future merge, and I just love that, like human design, astrology, like our natural feelings, Easter, and then I learned about Ishtar and where Easter evolves from, Ishtar and the cosmic egg from the cosmic womb. And she was represented by bunnies and eggs, and all of the ways that this gets like transmuted and modified and changed throughout, time and through different systems. And then just knowing Saturn and Neptune clicking into gear at 0 degrees Aries, and it feels like an activation. It's taken me a couple of weeks, to get that dialed with all of the felt changes coming in. But you have a new book you're working on, right?
yeah, I've got a couple, 3 things that I'm really kind of
Mm-hmm.
diverging in new directions with. And it's a representation in me as the example of this delineation point, because the last 14 years, literally, I began my human design journey where it came into my life right around when the Neptune and Pisces transit began. So this is my 15th year, moving out of that 14-year cycle. And the first 7 years was all about verifying the system in my own life and doing my own deconditioning. Not that it's over, but that was like the crux of it. And the second 7 years was working with others, using the system to debug. And still, all of that was about being wrapped up in unbecoming, debugging, fixing, healing, deep diving. And I don't work with people as much anymore, but when I do, there's a clear intention that we're there to make an action plan. We're there to make decisions. We're there to, yes, maybe see what's blocking those decisions or what the upper limit might be. But it's not just about who am I? How do I like understand myself better? It's like, okay, what are you going to do with it? And that's what I have time and energy for now in relationship in that way. So now that we're making this shift, I'm moving into, as you know, music production and something that's been a dream in my heart since childhood. I just got it on official distribution last night, so it's going to be available on iTunes and all the things. And
Congratulations. It's so good. When you put it out, like my body immediately was like, this is fucking good. And it
how do
was
you
a
think I
feeling.
felt?
I was like, oh, this is a banger. I think I messaged you right away. Like I texted you. I was like, dude, this is a fucking banger. Like
Yeah.
this is so good. Um, yeah, that's really exciting. The music.
Yeah. So that to me is like an expression of the Aries innocence, because that's what moves us on a cellular level. I mean, those rhythms, those melodies speak to us in the language of pure energy. And we're remembering something when we feel those feelings. That's the same reason we go and see live performances and gather in groups, because we're essentially confirming that we are one in that moment. That's what we're actually, it's going to trickle through all the different, kaleidoscope of feelings and emotions and genres and all that. But ultimately, we're there to experience that feeling of unity. And that person on the stage, or those people on the stage, are our example. We're in training with them in their moment of channeling their divine rhythm, and we're letting ourselves become one with them and the crowd around us. Even thinking of like the Matrix and the Rave in Zion, deep underneath the earth, that still was a hallmark of human unity and like forbearance in those crazy conditions that they were in the movie, was all centered around electronic music in that case. And I'm excited to see how that becomes more consciously experienced, because we might think of it as like, oh yeah, I identify with this genre or this artist because of this certain affinity, or I like how they look, or I like how they sound. But actually, they're resonating with the bass tone in our DNA code. There's something in them that is either in resonance, or we're looking to bring more of that energy into our own to complete our set, basically. Um,
I mean, we know music is frequency, but what you're describing, like the person pulling it down, creating it, producing it, whether they're making it with instruments or AI or however they're doing it, mixing other people's music. I've always loved that feeling of being in a crowd and there's just nothing, like you just feel the life force like going through you in such a strong way. And that can be at church, that can be at a local concert. You can create it yourself, you know, at home with some music on and a couple friends, but having other people around you and moving in the same energy to music that really activates you. So I love the idea that more people who are intentional about frequency are getting into it. And
and
yeah,
back to the Sleeping Phoenix and like where we're going, gate 55, which is in the solar plexus, which is where this mutation of a new kind of awareness is arising out of. It's an acoustic gate. It naturally gives us the ability to entrain with each other through sound. Another way to talk about electromagnetics, and just the kind of electromagnetics that can physically hit our five senses, but it's something that's only going to become more powerful as this really opens up. And that's, February 18th, 2027, but we're already feeling it. We're already
wait, did you say February 18th?
yeah,
That's my birthday.
you are the mutation, baby.
Wait, what's happening?
That's when the cross of planning clicks into the cross of the Sleeping Phoenix.
Oh my God. Okay, maybe I'm gonna be like DJing somewhere. Maybe we're gonna be DJing. Like, what's
I
gonna
mean,
happen?
yeah, we've definitely been envisioning something very special for that day. Maybe DJ set at the pyramids kind of vibe.
I'm
Everyone's
like
invited.
I'm 100% in for that on my birthday. Yeah,
That'd
that's
be great.
definitely a thing. And you know, it's so interesting. You mentioned earlier that the clinging fire eclipse, that was the spring equinox eclipse, right? That you were referring to.
That was February 17th this year.
So I was born under an eclipse. So that eclipse was like 28 degrees and some change Aquarius, and I'm a 29-degree Aquarius. These major placements that keep hitting like my exact natal chart points. And I'm like, I feel like I'm just like ding, ding, like just being plugged in.
the spokesperson, like you were appointed by birth.
Hi, here we are. Welcome to the future, bitches. Oh my god, I like it. Okay, it's the best present I could have heard. Like this time now and moving forward, do you think as we move into this new world, it's more of a singular focus? Is there still room to be a multi-pronged entrepreneur?
I think that each person in their design and their authority is gonna feel what is real for them, where they what they have energy for. You know, even thinking back to this idea of innocence, the pursuits, the things we've been involved in that were more circumstantial of conditioning or those false yeses or the tribal pressure, those will be reduced in energy. Like they won't have as much energy feeding them. And then that's going to recall a lot of energy to us. And maybe we're going to double down on the things that are truly our soul passions, the things that bring that ability to go for 16 hours because we're just so in the creative process, especially as generators. That's our signature state. That's what we came here to be and do. And the more people that are in that vortex of their own creative power, I think vibrationally is contributing so massively to what we want to see the world become. The disjointedness, the systems falling apart, all these systems became so big simply because we were so disconnected from ourselves. They are the reflection of that shadow of where we were not very responsible with our alignment because we didn't know better. We didn't have the support. We didn't have the tools, whatever. And as we awaken more, as we really just come to grips with who we actually are and can no longer tolerate what we're not, those things are going to dwindle. And that's really what this big shift is talking about. It's not like boom and the fireball hits and everything's over and we're all scattering. That's what our survival brain wants to make it out to be. But it's actually just because we are becoming more ourselves, the things that are a reflection of the not self or the things that are a reflection of where we've been vacant from ourselves don't have any place to exist anymore. They don't have any fuel. And that to me is exciting.
When you were sharing that, I got that feeling of, oh, and I'm starting to see the line through it. And really, what it comes down to is like my voice and my words, the way I speak, the way I see things. I see under patterns when I'm talking with someone, especially. Like my brain and body can rewind a moment and then replay it in slow motion, and I can pick up all the different layers. And then I can chase down or like track down a moment when their energy glitched. And I'm like, boom, right there. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah. Thinking back, it's also a hallmark of this cross of planning being that the other half, besides the 3740 of tribe and achievement, is 16, which is skills, and 9, which is logic. And so we've all had to onboard all of these external skills and all these external systems to prove our worth in the eyes of the systems, to get that worth reflected back to us as far as currency, and currency being a reflection of survival or, you know, safety. And that's literally being vaporized as we speak. And the crazy part is like the future doesn't change because something comes in and knocks it all down. The future changes because we lose interest. We lose the compulsion to keep up parts of ourselves that were never parts of ourselves.
Yep. Yeah. That's being felt on a major level. And it ties in actually to you said this on an Instagram post. Hesitation keeps us calibrated to the past. And I resonated with it so hard. How are you integrating that or making it real, like in your own life? Like when you notice a desire to hesitate or that thing comes up, like how do you navigate when you're hesitating because you're waiting, right, for the right response in your body based on human design, or when is the hesitation part of something else?
Well, like last night, I was laying in bed and kind of contemplating a difficult conversation that was coming up today, and one that I wanted to end constructively, and not one that, you know, was the end of something. But the stakes in my own conditioned ego as to me really speaking up to the truth of the matter on my end, and knowing that that mattered enough to do that, was making me hesitate, because I didn't want to sacrifice what's being built and what's been built for, my feelings, or, something that might be inconsequential in the grander scheme of like a project. But as I lay there, I came to this inner conviction, and Mars and Aries was definitely helping me with that, of like, I'm willing to put what matters to me at the same level of importance of the most, and it can sound crazy, of the biggest things that are happening in the world right now. Like, there is no separation. So my need to express a boundary, my need to express a vulnerability so that a partnership can flow in integrity, is just as important as anything that's going on in the world right now. I am a piece of the cosmos. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm in physicality. I'm not an afterthought, or else I wouldn't be alive. And so that means that even though I could put the project before me, even, I actually got to that place of conviction of like, if the whole thing falls apart because I have to be authentic about how I feel about something, even though it's inconvenient, so be it. Because then it wasn't meant to exist. Nothing that has to rely on me existing at a compromise is truly meant to be here. And so literally tracking, like 8th house sun, tracking down all the things in my life that are like that. And I can literally feel them in my body. When you were talking earlier about how you're feeling this urgency, I know exactly what you mean. I've been feeling it too. It's almost like the aura is getting stronger. And anything that's dissonant with that true core field is like ling, 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 ling. It's like it's rattling. And the only way to get back to peace and centeredness is to face it head on. And so it had very much been a time of taking deep stock of any place I have been hesitating, feeling whether that's a not self-hesitation or a I'm not fully clear on it yet hesitation, and there needs to be more of a process there. But cleaning house, really, and knowing that that's just going to enhance my ability to manifest, create, connect, call things in, because my energy is in integrity. And I feel like that's really more than like a vision board necessarily, although that's great, or any kind of like visual or mental schema of what we want to create in this Aries season. It's more about the physicalized and the energetic boundaries, and how are they speaking to us, and are we showing up to speak power to truth in all those
Yeah.
areas.
Oh, I really felt when you said you feel your aura like expanding or growing or filling out. Oh, that hits like boom. I'm like, yes, that's what it feels like. And anything that's not in pretty good resonance with that, it's not logical. There's things
Mhm.
that on the surface, it's like, it's fine, it's fine. I have been trusting that so deeply. It's just becoming noticed more. I feel more motivated, more comfortable going with what feels right in the moment, regardless. My brain is getting quieter and quieter, and I like it. And it's just a feeling in my body, and I feel my heart opening more. It's just such a good feeling to be out of the mind, in the body, and like just in places where people are just going to where they're feeling called and really in the moment. It just feels like there is this shift happening on a level that's we haven't necessarily put words around, and there may never be words the way it feels. But I've just been leaning into just listening to what do I want? Like, what does my body want? And when I do that, it's just such better results. And when I'm forcing myself, like, well, I should do this, or I should go here, or I should say yes to this, my body lets me know, hey, you're kind of going off an old program. And even if you want that to be the answer, it's not the answer.
I
And
totally felt that too in the last couple months with that eclipse really clearing out a lot of old stories about what the highest and best is. There were so many of these old, like, karmic connections, almost like amnesiac as to where it all began, but this compulsion to be in a person's life or have them in mind or support people or stay with a process that is not going anywhere after 7 or 8 years, and feeling like if I don't keep doing this, I'm like defying God, or I'm doing something taboo, or I'm, not paying it forward enough. All these dogmatic Piscean overlays that literally live in our nervous system make it feel like it's absolutely life or death vital that we keep repeating these loops. And that's another thing of this Aries season, is even standing up to those patterns that feel megalithic, ancient, that come from two people who have family lines with the same kind of karma getting roped up into trying to help each other complete the loop, and just being like what you said, I can't do this. And I'm a human being. I'm a limited being. Therefore, I have to just pull back right now and go where my joy is pulling me. Because trying to fix the suffering, the famine of long ago, is recreating the pattern.
yeah.
And I think that's what I would love as a prayer for people for this month, let's just say up into Taurus season, is like, these are the decisions that we're being asked to make, is to cut something. Maybe it is about the more singular focus in Aries season. And our energetic boundaries are so innocent and pure. They're not logical. They're not self-evident. And then we move into Taurus season and we get to see what gets created from the new boundaries, the new focus, the new system.
Being out of all that Pisces energy, I feel like the zodiacal wheel so strongly now. I'm like, I've always felt stuff before, but it's actionable. Like I'm a spontaneous person. I'm impulsive at times, but when I feel something like from my heart, when it feels like that, that's when I in the past have hesitated, because I'm like, well, my Virgo will be like, let's check through all the boxes of does that make sense? And I've been just going into that action state more. And it's not comfortable at first, but I'm getting accustomed to how that feels. I started posting a daily on Instagram, and I've just been throwing it up on TikTok. I'm like, well, if I have it on Instagram, I might as well put it on TikTok. And so far, it's like by far my worst performing content. Like when you look at the views, it's like 80% drop off in the first second. No one watches it to the end. It's like good, valuable information. And it's interesting. I get DMs, I get texts, I get people saying, oh, I love the series. I love it. I love it. And I'm like, that's interesting because it just tanks every day. And I've really been feeling into like, why am I doing this? What's my goal with this? I'm sticking with it right now because there's something about creating it that feels right. There's something I enjoy about, like, I like knowing the information every day because it's like words of advice to myself in the morning. But I'm also open to, in a way that I haven't been before in the past, I'm open to, I'm new. And this is likely going to evolve. Like when I first started it, I started it a certain way. And then I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll try it like this. And I'm just kind of like playing in the kitchen with it. And it may be nothing, right? I may go, hey, this just isn't what people desire from me. This isn't what I desire to give. It's such an interesting time now, like to feel so open to experimentation. And I don't know if there's like a question or anything.
It ties into this Aries new moon, because
Mm.
this Aries new moon is in gate 3, which is called difficulty at the beginning. And it's in something called the channel of mutation. And gate 3, it's a space where there's no pre-existing order. There is no pattern to follow. And that is why it's difficulty at the beginning. It does feel naked. It does feel like a mutation that we haven't seen where it's taking its final form yet. And that's a great example of how it kind of should feel for a lot of people. If you're really stepping into this new, I mean, it's the eternal you, but it is this now much more free identity. The things that are coming out of you are not the things that are prescribed from the dogmas that you evolved through to get to this point. It's completely a fresh, I mean, it's still from the cosmos, but it's a completely fresh experience. And it takes that repetition of putting one step in front of the other until it starts to gather its own momentum and become the new thing. So it's a beautiful example for how it probably will feel April 17th, new moon. The seeds you're planting don't feel comfortable. They don't feel like they have a certainty to where they're going. And that's a prime chaotic creative state that is appropriate at this time.
I was going to ask you a question, but you actually just answered it. I was going to say, like, based totally on astrology and human design, what's the best way to approach finding balance between just taking action to see what works and only moving forward once you totally know it's aligned? And that's so cool that you just answered it. What are you most... Did you have a word for this year for yourself? Like, I have an anchor word, or like a word I write on my whiteboard. Do you have a word? Do you want to share it, or do you keep it secret?
No, you actually said it earlier. It's masterpiece.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, masterpiece. I love that, masterpiece. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, I really feel it. Last year it was Eureka, which it played out.
Last year mine was magnetize, which was good, but then by the end of the year I was like, oh, a magnet just whoosh,
Everything.
like, yeah. I was like, magnetize, and then by the end I was like, whoa, there's a lot on me. I'm a magnet. And this year mine's unleash.
Ooh,
Feels really good.
Of course, yeah.
Did you say of course?
Well, I said it's a good one for the horse.
Oh, you've got your horse on. Hell yeah. Yeah, unleash feels really good right now. I'm liking it. Is there anything you want to share about or leave people with?
It would be a whole other podcast. So
Let's leave it for the next one.
Yeah.
Part 3. Dun, 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 dun. Dylan, I always love talking with you.
Same.
Feels so nice in my body. So good in my body.
Yeah, it's vibing.
Thanks for coming on again. And where can people find you?
Human Design Maven on Instagram. Let's just keep it simple.
And you have, if people get really excited and want to keep up to date on possible Egypt trips and other fun things, he also has a website you can go to, and you can put your email address right now.
True. The very simple website, hdmaven.com.
I like it. I think it looks really cool.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we do have something completely new launching on the 17th, and it's an app. It's a comprehensive human design platform that's designed to put you in touch with your inner authority every day. So this is not about more information. This is about returning you to the teacher within. And we're very excited about it. And it's going to be a fully realized platform with relationships, astrocartography, date picker, daily transits, custom to your design, encyclopedia. We're really like putting all the magic. And it's a labor of love.
I can't wait. Put your email address in, you guys. You don't want to miss the super magical app.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks so much, Dylan. Till next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay immersed in the infinite drop.